Solo
There are a lot of negative outcomes regarding the Online Streaming Act. The legislation is ambiguous. An example of that is that despite the government stating that is not their intention to regulate the users, there is no protection of the users in the legislation, meaning that they have the power to. The biggest negative effects are on the user community, not only for the content creators but also for the consumers. What the regulation of the users or user-generated content means. User-generated content is basically everything created and posted online by a user. It could be a YouTube video, a song on Spotify, or a live stream. That type of content is non-regulated internationally. Users from anywhere in the world can post something and their content has the same chances of reaching a viewer as any other user. The regulation on user-generated content will bring a chain of negative effects, not only on Canadian users, but on all users in the platform. The Online Streaming Act focuses on pushing only verified Canadian content into those platforms, to make them more visible and bringing more Canadian content to be consumed by Canadians. On that matter, we already have the problem of the definition and how to have a content verified as CanCon. The requirements to be verified as CanCon can be considered unfair, and it is not clear if every time a user posts something, he or she should send paperwork to the CRDC to be verified. Also, the CRDC is in the process of reconsidering the definition of Canadian content, which leaves the producers and users in an insecure state. Canada Constitution Foundation litigation director and YouTuber, Christine Vengain, talks about it on her YouTube video.
Current definition of Canadian content is long, it is complicated, it uses a point system that awards points based on the nationality of people in the production team, based on production. It has production cost requirements, it has salary requirements for Canadian producers relative to foreign producers. And to qualify, the content actually also needs to be within a CRTC defined program category. So this video, under the current definition, which is created by me, a Canadian, I'm even wearing my Toronto Maple Leafs shirt. It is filmed in Canada. It is a video about Canadian law. 90% of my viewers are Canadian. Well, under the current CRTC definition, this video is not Canadian content. And even if it could qualify as Canadian content, to get it qualified, I would need to fill out huge amounts of paperwork for every single video that I upload. Now, I am a lawyer. I am not afraid of paperwork, but even I couldn't do this. I just do not have the time or the resources. So do you think a teenager on TikTok or a gamer about to go live on Twitch is going to fill out forms of paperwork in order to get certified as CanCon? Of course not.
If we consider the content creators that are Canadian and verified as CanCon, there is no positive outcome for them. Professional content creators make a living out of the content that they upload, and they depend on views, likes, overall good ratings to be able to profit. With the Online Streaming Act, they could have their content pushed to people that take absolutely no interest in their content. To prevent that type of content from appearing on their home screen, users will need to downvote the content creators. Downvoting an user or content creator affects the algorithm, making their content appear less and less for viewers, affecting their online presence and their income. J.J. McCullough, a columnist and media commentator specializing in Canadian politics and YouTuber, gave his statement at the meeting number 29 CHPC Standing Committee on Canadian Heritage, saying that the Bill C-11 was a bill that they did not ask for, did not need, and that it threatened what they already achieved. Here is his conclusion at the debate.
In summary, anyone proud of the tremendous success of Canadians on YouTube should be deeply concerned about the damage Bill C-11 could do to their livelihoods. I also worry that the dreams of the next generation of Canadian YouTubers will become less achievable once they're forced to navigate intimidating new regulatory hurdles my generation did not. But most of all, I fear the damage that will be done to Canada's legacy as a global leader of cultural entrepreneurship once our online creators are forced to make narrowly nationalistic content under duress in order to win the favor of a government in denial of what we've accomplished on our own. Thank you.
Regarding non-Canadian content creators, if a video goes up, another needs to go down. The push of CanCon in Canada will affect those international content creators in the way that their videos that were visible to Canadians now could not be shown to them, resulting in the loss of visibility, going even down on the algorithm scale and losing their income. If hearing from the public wasn't enough, companies also warned the government that this act could affect users. One example of that is a TikTok spokesperson that stated that without the legislative clarity they asked for, digital-first creators are now left to simply hope that the government keeps its promise not to regulate user-generated content. Also, a spokesperson from YouTube, the director of product management, Todd Beaupre, was interviewed on YouTube creators and stated that to regulate the platform is not something that will bring positive outcomes.
We really don't want to be recommending things to viewers that they're not interested in watching, because then they'll potentially leave, and that reduces the opportunity for everyone.
Christine Van Gain brought up her point of view on another public concern about the Online Streaming Act /C-11. How can C-11, or the Online Streaming Act, impact the right to freedom of expression that is guaranteed by our charter?
So the last point of controversy that I want to talk about and that I'm interested in as a lawyer who works for a constitutional law charity is how C-11 or the Online Streaming Act can impact the right to freedom of expression that is guaranteed by our charter. Now, the law itself doesn't limit the ability to speak, but it could impact the ability to be heard depending on how the CRTC exercises its powers. Now, this question of impacting the right to be heard has important implications for the right to freedom of expression, and it's an important part of the conversation that was not seriously considered during the passing of this legislation. There's an often cited analogy by critics of the bill and now legislation that if the government tried to regulate what books go in the front window of a bookstore and what books need to go in the back, we would all say that this is a freedom of expression problem. But again, we still don't know how the CRTC is going to use these powers. We're going to have to wait and see. So to the extent that any constitutional challenge could happen, the answer to that question is really going to depend on what the CRTC does.
In the end, the Online Streaming Act is going to change how content reaches users around the world, have an impact on the user experience from all the streaming platforms, and has the potential to affect negatively the livelihood of thousands of Canadians, and also people from other countries who depend on the visibility of their content to the Canadian public.
Hello and welcome to the show Speak Your Mind. We are here starting tonight our show, and it's going to be a live show that every Friday together with me, Audrey and Giovanni, we are going to be speaking about Canadian topics that involves Canadian families and those who are living here in Canada. Tonight's show we are speaking about Bill C-11. Is it a safeguard or a way for the government to control online content? And you are going to be able to participate. Actually, we are live here right now. It's 10:09 right now. If you are watching us from Facebook, YouTube, our TV channel, Living Faith Canada, through Tuber, you can call us right now and share your comment with us through the number 877-785-8700. Is it a safeguard? Is it a way for us to be protected from bad information, from bad content, or is it a way for the government to control us? We're going to be speaking more about this throughout the show. We have some facts from CRTC website that I want to read with you in a few minutes. But before, I want you to watch this TikToker. I believe her name is Chris Collins. Let us watch what she has to say about this bill.
So many of us fear Bill C-11, a bill we did not ask for, do not need, and threatens the success we've already achieved.
Bill C-11 implies vague changes to these platforms to prioritize Canadian content to Canadians, but it would in turn deprioritize Canadian content to an international audience.
A big part of the concern for me, and I think a lot of people, is the people writing this law and proposing these regulations don't really understand how the internet works and how people create.
Sorry, we had a mistake. We put it the wrong one. It's a live show. It happens. Let us watch Chris Collins. She's a very famous TikToker here from Canada. Let us see what she has to say.
I am scared. I've been paying really close attention to Bill C-11, aka the Online Streaming Act. It's something my fellow Canadian creators should be paying attention to, and all the viewers as well. Bill C-11 was supposed to be promoting Canadian storytelling online. In reality, the bill has ended up so broadly worded that it lets the CRTC interfere with every part of your online life. That includes manipulating your feeds and search results, requiring you to provide proof of your age to access platforms like Reddit and Twitter, and controlling your favorite YouTube channels, TikToks, and other streaming services, and even your own uploads. Earlier this month, the Canadian Senate passed Bill C-11 with a helpful amendment that better protects Canadian creators. But on March 7th, the government gave notice that it would reject this amendment that would protect digital creators. This is terrifying and honestly wild for the government to just ignore digital creators and its viewers. Luckily, there is still time to make an impact. I will put a link for you to click on to send in an already written letter to your local MP. Thank you so much for listening, and #FixBillC11.
Well, we are here to debate about that. And together with me, I believe I already have somebody in line. Bruno, Mr. Bruno, I believe he's a lawyer. Am I right, Bruno? I don't know if he can hear us. I cannot hear him. Bruno, can you hear us? Well, we are having some technical problems, but we're going to fix it in just a second. I have here Audrey and Giovanni. Oh, I think I heard something. Bruno? Not yet? Okay. We are fixing whatever is going wrong. It really scares me how Chris she says it scares her because it's a way for the government to control. I believe many people don't even know about this, right, Audrey?
Yes, Mr. We did an interview on the streets, and many people weren't aware of this bill, which was shocking. I even asked other people that did information about the bill, and they were even shocked to hear that many people weren't aware, and they thought it was something that a lot of people should know about because it's going to impact.
Well, Giovanni, whenever a bill like this pass, and actually it's already passed, it's already, I believe it's already in effect. How do you think it affects, especially the youths nowadays? Because they are the ones streaming content, they are the ones putting themselves out there, trying to make a live out of it. How do you think that affects them?
Well, the thing is, Pastor, the generation that we have now is completely living in full effect of their phones, whether that be TikTok, whether that be YouTube, whether that be Facebook. So when something gets swept under the rug, like Bill C-11, and a lot of people don't hear about it, one can even feel offended. One can even go, well, I didn't know about this. And especially when you take away the rights, Pastor, of the younger generation to decide what they want to do with their content, how they need to place their content, it totally creates chaos and a difference between opinions.
You can share with us your opinion by calling us at 877-785-8700. You can, in any of our platforms, we are streaming live right now in YouTube, Facebook. You can share your comments there with us too, and we are going to read in just a few seconds, okay? I believe we have somebody in the line already. David. David is in the line. David Fernandez.
Yes, Pastor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, David. Go ahead, share with us. What do you think? Do you think this is a safeguard, or do you think it's a way for the government to control us?
In my opinion, it's something very dangerous, because it always starts with this good idea. Because if you read what is written there, I was reading it, they even have some page to explain some rumors that people think. Sounds a good idea to make Canada don't lose its identity. I think this is one of the most concern they have. However, what is going to impede them in the future to actually starting to control what people, what is considered to be Canadian or not? Because right now they already regulated. We have the television and the radio regulated, and even Canadian musicians and artists, they have problems to show the government they are Canadian enough. So the same way, this thing may sound like a good idea, they have a good intention, but I believe that it's not. I believe that in the future, it can be very dangerous to control what we should watch or not.
David, don't you think that it is good to have somebody watching whatever is posted online? But do you think the government should have control over them, or those who broadcast, for example, YouTube, Facebook? Who do you think should have more control? Or should it be those who are viewing, those who are watching the videos? Who do you think should control? Because we understand that we live in an evil world. Today there is a lot of evil out there, and there's people who, unfortunately, what they are posting is not good for the society. Who do you think should have this control?
I think the population should have always the control. Mm-hmm. People should always have the control over what they can watch or not. When we start to give the government this power, they can start to, depending on where is there at the power at the moment, they may think that something that they do not agree because of any reason should be removed. So since the government is always changing their minds and their beliefs, it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be a mess, this kind of thing. The population should always have the choice to choose what is the best for them, what is the best to watch, control to avoid what they think that which is wrong. And people can do that. The government cannot assume that we cannot take care of our life. We cannot choose by ourselves what is good for us. Because indeed we are able to do that. Even though over time it's looks like they are trying to always show
the good things,
the best for us.
Yes.
But we still have we must have this control over our own life. Over our own lives to
Thank you, David, for your...
decide what is best for us.
Thank you for you sharing your mind with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor.
Well, you can continue calling us at 877-785-8700. I believe, Audrey, you have some comments from us from our Facebook page.
Yes, Pastor. There was someone that actually even said one violation of rights would be too many. They feel that even if one is violated, it's too many. So we have another one that also says, now that this law is in effect, the freedom of finding well-articulated information by independent news and content creators has been denied or is now heavily controlled.
Well, one thing I want to discuss, we saw Christine, a lawyer here from Canada. She said something that really caught my attention, Pastor Giovanni. She said, one thing is the ability to speak. The charter gives us the ability to speak whatever we want. But they are taking the ability to be heard. So what they are taking, it's not the ability to speak, but the ability to be heard. So they choose who are going to listen to us. Isn't that the same thing? How do you feel?
The thing is, Pastor, is that it counts us out. It counts us out on its own. So whether it is that they are or they're not, the person isn't able to decide for themselves. It's like you said, it kind of counts us out. And that kind of goes into a comment that we received. No, somebody says like this: everyone pays for their own internet, and the government has no right to regulate what we should watch and see. And then one more that goes like this: they just want to seize control of what people can know and can unknow or understand. They want the power to force feed their own agendas.
Well, the name of the show is there. Speak your mind. You who are Canadian, you who live here in Canada, you are able for the first time here in Canada to share your mind with us, okay? I want to watch, I would like the production to prepare the little short clip that we have from Pierre, the leader of opposition. Let us watch.
We're going to bring home free speech by repealing C-11, which attempts to give government the control of what people see and say on the internet. We think that there are already 37 million Canadian content regulators. They're called the citizens of Canada, and they have the right to decide what they see and say on the internet.
Well, there it is, the leader of opposition, Mr. Pierre, saying his mind about the subject. I have another caller in line, Miss Chloe. She's a restaurant owner and a yoga teacher. Chloe, are you there with us?
Hi, yes, I am.
Hi, Chloe. Share your opinion with us. Share your mind with us. What do you think? Is it a safeguard? Is it a way for the government to keep us safe from bad content, or is it a way for them to control us?
In my opinion, it's to control us, and I agree with everything that David was saying before. When I first heard about this bill, I never thought it was going to pass, and I find it very worrisome. I was really shocked when they were able to pass it, to be honest. And it has nothing, but it's very dangerous and it's very scary.
Do you agree with Christine, the lawyer? She said that the ability to be heard, it's the same as the ability to speak. Because if they are taking the ability to be heard, what is the point of speaking, right?
Exactly. And I've never thought that I would actually ever vote conservative, but I did this time because I don't agree with what our government is doing, and I agree with Pierre, the conservative leader.
But let me ask you a question. Do you think there must be some kind of control? Because again, we live in a world that people are a little bit crazy, if I can put it like that. And there is a lot of crazy content out there. Do you think who should decide if it's good or not?
No, it's called freedom of speech.
Okay.
I don't think it should be controlled. I mean, I think it's been regulated enough. If there's anything like that would harm children, you know, anything, pedophilia example, then I know that's controlled as much as they can, but what they're trying to do is nothing to do with that. So no, I don't.
Now, let me ask you a question. I have here some facts. I'm in CRTC right now. I'm in their website. And they're saying that CRTC will not regulate content and digital creators. And they are saying like this: we will only regulate broadcasters, including those providers. Isn't that the same thing? What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a way of twisting the words of what it actually means. It's politicians figuring out a way to make things sound like it's
good,
a
right?
positive thing, you know?
Well, thank you for your mind, for speaking your mind here with us.
My pleasure.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You can call us at 877-785-8700 to share your opinion with us. We are here live. The show is live. It's 11:24 right now. We are live in our Facebook page,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Our Facebook page, Speak Your Mind. We are live. We're also live, Pastor, through our YouTube. We're live. If you guys want to join in our poll, you can join our Telegram channel. We're going to put it on the screen right now. And we have a poll, Pastor. What we're asking the following question. Just as we've said, Bill C-11, a safeguard or control over online content. So far in the poll, Pastor, 9% say yes, it is a safeguard.
9%.
9%. 82% go no, it's control over online content. And 9% are saying neither. So you can definitely sound off in that survey.
Audrey, do you have any comments for us?
Yes, Pastor, I have one that says, as someone here in Canada, I'm impressed to see and hear about the control of the government in this place. Crime rate seems low. The opportunity is everywhere, unless there's something I'm not seeing.
Well, we are here to listen to your mind, okay? Actually, if you want, prepare a glass of water in a few by the end of the show. Please give me my camera. By the end of the show, we are going to do a special prayer, asking God to bless your life. If you are watching us and you are going through a tough moment in your life, at the end of the show, I would like to say a special prayer to all our watchers, okay? Well, you can continue calling us. You can continue sending your text message, phone number, whatever. You can reach us to speak your mind. Before I go to the next video, I want to speak to another caller. I believe it's a businessman called Ashish. Am I saying it right? Ashish? Is he there? I believe the call dropped. Okay, so let us continue. Let us watch this other video that speaks more about Bill C-11.
In November of 2020, Bill C-10, now known as Bill C-11 or the Online Streaming Act, was introduced by the Minister of Canadian Heritage Stephen Guilbeault. Although it failed to pass the Senate before Parliament was dissolved for the 2021 federal election, it was reintroduced with amendments in February 2022 as Bill C-11 by Canadian Heritage Minister Pablo Rodriguez. The bill proposes an amendment to the already existing Broadcasting Act that allows the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission, CRTC, to regulate the Canadian broadcasting system. The amendment has as its main objective to establish a new privacy framework that addresses emerging challenges in the digital world, while giving individuals more control over their personal data. But what is Bill C-11, or the Online Streaming Act, really about? The Bill C-11, which was approved by the Canadian government on April 2027 of this year, and started to be called the Online Streaming Act, alongside the protection of access of private information online, was focused on regulating streaming services such as Netflix, YouTube, TikTok, and Spotify to increase the discoverability of Canadian content to Canadian users. Alongside the regulation of those platforms, they are also obliged to financially support Canadian productions. How does it work? The Online Streaming Act, which still is in the process of being implemented, basically works like this. CRTC will now have the power to regulate the content in streaming platforms in a way that, what is considered by them as Canadian content, will be pushed for more visibility in those platforms. Not only that, but streaming services such as Spotify, Netflix, and Disney Plus will be required to financially support Canadian media content by promoting music and TV shows, making it easier to be discovered. But what is Canadian content? Canadian content, or CanCon, is a production, music, film, documentary, TV show that has to fill enough requirements on the CRTC checklist and get certified by them as Canadian content. Some examples of the requirements are: the producer must be a Canadian and must act as the central decision maker from the development stage until the production is ready for commercial exploitation. The production must earn a minimum number of points based on the key creative functions that are performed by Canadians. Usually, a minimum of 6 out of 10. At least 75% of the production services costs must be paid to Canadians, and at least 75% of the production's post-production and laboratory costs must be paid for services provided in Canada by Canadians or Canadian companies. The production must qualify for certification under an eligible program category. It was stated by the CRTC that the definition of Canadian content should be revised now that the Online Streaming Act is active. But 3 years ago, in January of 2020, CBC News posted a video that talked about the problems with the definition of CanCon and the relation it had to the streaming platforms.
From teenage witches to surly superheroes, the hunger for content has studios in Toronto and Vancouver running at full capacity.
I don't even know exactly what we're building down here.
This is what the streaming boom looks like. On the soundstage for The Expanse, they're building sets as quickly as they can. The Expanse executive producer says it's never been easier to reach viewers.
The opportunities for local content have never been better. And all of the companies are trying to go to different places to get different voices.
Netflix has to commit.
But talk to Canadian creators and the rosy picture changes.
And I have never seen it like this.
According to research from the Writers Guild of Canada, in the past 5 years, the number of scripted shows made for private broadcasters has dropped dramatically, while the number of U.S. shows made here jumped up nearly 300%.
Does that mean new opportunities for writers trying to break into it?
No, absolutely no.
Yeah.
And so if Netflix is only doing service production, they hire from LA. They're not hiring from Toronto or Vancouver, other than the odd exception.
They have to know where the work is.
They have to. They have families, they have mortgages.
Part of the problem is Canadian producers and writers and directors all say that Netflix and other streamers have an unfair advantage. Traditional broadcasters pay into the Canada Media Fund, which helps create new shows. Netflix is taking money from over 6 million Canadian subscribers, but doesn't contribute to the fund. But in 2017, Netflix did agree to spend $500 million over 5 years on Canadian productions.
Netflix will create Netflix Canada.
A drop in the bucket, says this producer.
They're getting a great deal with access to our market. And like the French, like the British, like every other country in the world except America, all we're saying is they should be leaving something here.
Now, after years of Canadian producers asking the government to update regulations, an expert panel is expected to release a report recommending streaming companies contribute to content creation funds. For its part, Netflix doesn't consider itself a broadcaster. It doesn't believe it should pay. On the street, we asked Netflix subscribers.
Well, sorry to cut. We have more people on the line who wants to participate. Actually, I'm going to speak right now with Catherine. She's a remote pilot operator. Am I saying it right, Catherine?
Yes, you are. That is correct.
So, Catherine, what do you think? Share your mind with us. Bill C-11, a safeguard, as the lady was just putting, a way to protect Canadians and their job, or is it a way for the government to control the content?
Well, I've been listening to my peers, and I think I might have like a more controversial view where I think that big tech giants like Netflix and TikTok and YouTube, they should be investing in Canadian producers and Canadian actors because they receive so much money from Canadian viewers. And for them to not invest in Canadian people, I feel like it does a disservice to the Canadian economy. So I beg to differ, and I do agree with the bill that it should promote Canadian content. Like, for example, if I'm in Toronto, I want to be able to see the restaurants that are in Toronto, the gym classes that are in Toronto, the yoga classes that are happening in Toronto. If I'm in Vancouver and that is my location, my current location, I want the algorithm on my phone to say, hey, this is what's around you, or this is what Canada has to offer. That is not only going to help Canadians, that's going to help tourists to discover like more things, and that brings money to businesses, like small businesses. They'll be able to like have similar exposure the way the American market has it. You know, YouTube, Netflix, those are American tech giant companies where they take Canadian viewers, but that money is going into America. And I think that this bill takes the money, or it forces these tech giants to put money back into the Canadian economy, back into creating jobs. And I don't think it's, the bill itself doesn't censor anything. There is that fear, but the law itself does not censor something specifically at all. It's literally just attacking the big tech giants and saying, hey, you guys make money from Canadian people, then you need to invest in the Canadian people as well. And I think that the bill it's okay. The legislation that was passed, I think it's fair.
What are your thoughts in regards these TikTokers and YouTubers who are coming out and saying, no, they are trying to control us, they are trying to, do you think they are not well informed about what the bill is? They're talking about something they don't understand. What are your mind in this?
I think the YouTubers or the TikTokers, they're afraid of what hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Because there is the law itself it's very vague. It doesn't specifically say, I mean, it specifies that it will not affect creators. So TikTokers and YouTubers, they can continue to create their content. You know, I understand that their fear might be that it's only going to be for Canada and not be on a global market. That is probably a concern if I was a creator I would have. I would want my content to have, yes, an exposure in the Canada market, but if I can hit a global market, why not? You know, why be limited just to a Canadian market? You know what I'm saying? And then I also start to question if these TikTokers, or let's say are Canadian, if they are currently living in Canada or in the United States or wherever they are from, you know?
Yeah.
I think that if you file the correct paperwork, you know, other countries have done it where they're investing in their country first before the rest. I think it's fair game.
Okay, thank you very much for your opinion.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Well, we have our first caller who agrees with BC11. If you are watching us, you can call us 2877-785-8700. Actually, Audrey, you went to the streets, right, to speak to some people. And one thing that you were saying to me before we started the show is that many people don't even know about the bill, right?
Yes, Pastor, a lot of people were unaware that this bill even existed, even though they might follow certain YouTubers and be on TikTok, but they didn't know what specifically the bill was. They might have heard a little bit about it, but it wasn't that when we spoke to them, what it indicated, what was actually going on. They were very interested. So they had an opinion afterwards, and they have to speak there as the interviews go on.
In a few, we are going to play those interviews. I would like you to prepare a glass of water. In a few minutes, I'm going to say a special prayer for you. You who are suffering, you who need help, you who need a prayer. It's never enough to receive a prayer. And if you want to receive this prayer, you are more than welcome to do so. You can call us to leave your name for prayer too. Okay? In a few, we are going to do this prayer. I believe we have another caller in line before I go to the interviews. Hello? Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Is this?
Yes, this is Ashish here.
How are you doing, Ashish?
I'm good, Pastor. How are you?
I'm good. So share your mind with us. What do you think? A safeguard or a way to control us?
Actually, I was just looking at the videos, and I'm actually not pretty sure what to talk about. But I think it's something we are going around with social media and stuff. So I'm not much involved with the social media. I normally do my business, and I'm busy with my work and stuff, and I always go to the church.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can ask me something.
So, for example, what they're saying is that the Bill C-11, it's a way for them to show you more Canadian stuff. So, for example, you have your business, you are a businessman, and they want to promote your business. They will give you an opportunity for your business to be shown here in Canada, and for businesses outside of Canada to be shut down. They are going to control the machine who does this, the algorithm that it plays around with this. But in the same way, if you get bad reviews, less people will be able to see your video. If, let us say, if you put a YouTube video promoting your business, that's what basically the bill is. So do you think this is a way of the government to control, or do you think everybody should be able to watch your video? It doesn't matter what country, where they are watching from. What do you think?
Well, I think it's not a good idea to do this thing right now. Actually, if you are doing a business, we have to compromise with each and everyone. Doesn't matter in Canada or doesn't matter in US or anywhere, right? To be a businessman, you have to spread your business. You have to know each other. You have to do everything, right?
Yes.
Yes. So
do you think it's fair to your business they having a say?
Actually, if I'm just if you are talking about just within Canada, it's not fair, right? So we have to spread our business. It's not just a matter of only in Canada. It's always everywhere in the world, right?
Yes. Thank you very much for your participation, Ashish.
Thank you very much, Pastor. No worries.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.
Prepare your glass of water. In a few, we are going to say a special prayer to all those who are watching us, okay? Before I go to this testimony, I would like to go to the street interviews. And after that, I'm going to share my mind with you. Let's watch.
Hello, and we're here in downtown Toronto on the streets trying to find out the opinions of others about Bill C-11. Let's see what they have to say as we interview a few and their thoughts on this bill.
I think it's extremely important that every Canadian citizen should know about Bill C-11.
My opinion would be that it's to regulate what is being shared and what is not as a protection, because also there is the issue that many people are posting news that are perhaps not real, and this can confuse people and create a massive problem with people that do not verify the source of their news.
Well, the fact that we are going to have to search a little harder for content that we want to watch, if it's filmed in Canada or if it's not filmed in Canada, it's making it a little bit harder on us. And there's no point in it, really, I guess.
It's going to impact Canadians a lot because a lot of what the newer generation looks through news is through social media platforms. And since it's not going to be on social media platforms, it's going to affect how people get their news from.
I'm pretty much against it. I believe that social influencers, Canadian influencers especially, should get a leg up in some way, some support from the government especially. But the way that this bill's going about, it's not about the influencer or the little person, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I'm with it 100%. If it makes accessibility better for everyone, especially for Canadians to watch Canadian shows, then absolutely. It's a very important topic.
I think it could be good and bad. I think you should definitely be able to see more outside of Canada. You shouldn't be stuck to the restrictions within Canada, considering the fact the amount of social media that's around right now and the importance of content creation and how everyone use all those online platforms to find all their news, or that's how they'd watch their activities, that kind of stuff.
I think it's going to the wrong direction. My opinion is that many people nowadays, like millennials or other generations, do not actually pay for subscriptions to have access to the news, to pay for programming on the TV. Many people are relying more and more on internet to access news and information regarding everything. So I think limiting it's actually dangerous for the society in general, especially for the young ones.
You know what? Honestly, I don't think it's beneficial just to limit everyone to just Canadian, because I don't think it's going to do anything about the economy, because it's an American established forum. So, like, how can you say it's only for Canada when it was founded in the U.S.? You know, it's kind of like, it sounds like that's kind of deceptive right there.
Canadian content it's not just important for Canadians, it's important for everybody. There's millions of creators just in this country alone. And to me, it means that I could have a shot doing my art somewhere else in Canada, in the world, rather than just in Canada, because the content will be pushed. That's very important. And to the point of the news and having it regulated to have more Canadian stuff,
I honestly think this is just going to be manipulated into a way that helps the big person, the big corporations and stuff, you know?
And these are just a few opinions from the people here of downtown Toronto. And if you follow us on the links posted below, you can join our social media platforms for more topics such as this. Stay tuned for more.
There you have it, the opinion of those here in the streets of Toronto, okay? My opinion in the matter is this. I think that any kind of control, it's dangerous to anybody. I think the best way for us to have a safeguard in this bill is to allow those who are watching to decide what they want to do about it. Well, this is my opinion, okay? And you who are watching us right now, and you feel like nobody listens to you, nobody cares for you, we are here to say that not only we are here to debate about opinions in topics and politicians and things like this, we are here because we care about you. We care about what is going on in your life. And if you want to call us, to speak your mind, to speak about a problem that maybe no one wants to hear, to speak about a challenge that you are facing in life and you feel so lonely, you can call us right now. We have pastors available to speak to you and to make a prayer for you. Actually, I would like you to watch this testimony, and after that, I will come back saying a special prayer for all those who are watching us, okay?
My name is Felicia Allen, and I suffered from depression. The main reason on why I ended up having depression was because I ended up getting raped from the age of 3 all the way to 11 until I moved out to the States. At the time, I was living with my uncle because my mom couldn't afford to take care of me. So I had to live with him and his wife until I came out here. He would sexually abuse me, and they would physically abuse me in any way possible. They broke my shoulder. I ended up in the hospital a lot. I just started to retaliate for the things that happened to me. I ended up taking some pills in high school, which ended up making me go to the hospital. And any male that came into my life, I felt like they cared about me more than my family did. Fast forward to college, I met a guy, and he was nice at first and he made me feel happy. And I thought that the depression went away, but it didn't. It was just a cover up for what was in store for me. I ended up being prostituted, and I was a prostitute for about 4 years in Pomona, Las Vegas, LA, all over. And I ended up moving to Vegas to live with the individual. Things still weren't good. I still had depression. I ended up getting pregnant with twins, and he didn't like it. He wasn't too happy about it, and he would abuse me. He would put his hands on me. I would still have to go out on the streets and still sell my body. The depression got even worse once I carried the twins until I was like 39 weeks. And I ended up losing them. They passed away when I was giving birth. I was going to another church. It felt like home, but it still didn't help with the depression. They never talked about anything that had to do with depression until my sister moved out here. And when she moved out here, a family member told her about the Universal Church. Once I started coming here, I felt more at home. I started praying more. I ended up sacrificing my life. I got baptized. I felt a lot better. It was like a boulder was lifted off of my shoulder. I ended up forgiving the individual who raised me at a younger age. And I forgave the twins' father. And I forgave anyone who did anything wrong to me. And I haven't been depressed since. And I continue to pray, and I continue to just be happy and continue to come to the Universal Church.
Well, if you are suffering with depression or any other problem, we are here for you. We are here to help you, okay? By the number 877-785-8700, you can call and speak whatever it is in your mind. You can call us right now and speak to us. We care. We care enough to listen. We care enough to be there for you. And it's free of charge. We're not going to charge anything. We just want you to know that we are here for you, okay? You who are watching us right now, if you can, prepare a glass of water. I have mine here with me already. I'm going to put a beautiful song. And after that, I'm going to say a special prayer for God to bless your night and for you to have a peaceful night of sleep, okay? Let us pray. It's the moment of prayer.
Lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He won't let my foot be moved. Who keeps me is the Lord, the one who keeps Israel. Will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is my keeper. He's the shade on my right hand. He keeps my soul. He protects me from all evil. He keeps my going out and my coming in from now on and forever. The Lord.
Prepare a glass of water or get closer to your television screen. At this moment, we will have a special prayer to your name.
My Lord and my Father, in the name of your Son Jesus, I enter in your presence to pray for all those who are watching us. Those, my Father, who right now they are struggling with something in their mind. Those that maybe they had a tough week, my Lord. And there are so many things going on in their mind. And they were just looking for something to pass the time. And they ended up watching us. My Lord, I ask you that when they drink this glass of water, let them receive peace of mind, my Father. Let you touch their lives to give them peace. For those, my Father, that could not sleep at night, let them be able to sleep at night. Those, my Father, who are being afflicted by a pain, heal them, my Lord. You have the power to do so. My Lord, I present to you this glass of water. Give them peace, Father. Peace of mind. It's what I ask you, my Lord. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. And those who believe in that say, Amen. Drink of the water and receive peace of mind. Well, my friends, we are coming to the end of the show. Don't forget, if there is a lot in your mind and you are going through something that, nobody wants to listen or nobody cares, you can call us right now at 877-785-8700. It's 11:55 right now. We are live here. You can call us right now and you are going to find a pastor ready and available to speak to you. Okay? We continue with our show next week, speaking about parents and teachers. Who should educate the children? The parents or the children? Who bears the responsibility? Next week, Friday, we are going to be speaking about this. Okay? Thank you for your participation, Ms. Audrey.
Thank you, Pastor. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Pastor Giovanni, for being here with us.
Thank you so much.
Well, the show ends here, but you can continue watching us through the Living Faith channel here on Tuber. Okay? May God bless you all in Jesus' name.
Join thousands of people every Sunday at 10 a.m. in one faith. Based on this word, again, I say to you that if two of you agree on earth concerning anything that they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. Matthew 18:19. Receive the 7 prayers.
I don't know how long I had that disease, but the way I found out is I had went to the doctor to have my annual physical. So they called me about the results and told me to get to the hospital because my sugar was so high that I was threatening a stroke. So I participated in drinking the blessed water. Faithfully, I did it every day. I just continued in my faith and coming to the church and fighting against it.
Deliverance.
I was a victim of witchcraft. My mother sacrificed me since I was young. I couldn't walk. I was paralyzed for a long time. I don't remember half of my life. I remember being in the hospital. It was King County Hospital. I remember that I had to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to write. I saw demons. People think that evil's not real. It is real. I went to a lot of churches, like 23 Christian church. And I never felt like I felt when I came to the Universal Church. But when I came to this ministry, from the very first time that I stepped through that door, I knew there was hope in this church.
Prosperity.
I had a business that was doing at one point rather well and went down substantially. and experienced just hard times trying to bring it up. I experienced also 3 deaths in my family. My mother, my father, my brother passed away. Then we had the recession, and I really never recovered from that. And it's still hard times, but since I've been coming to the church here, my business is starting to recoup. I see opportunities where my phone is ringing. I want this house built. I want this done. I want this done. My business is starting to take off to another dimension.
Family.
I was about to separate with my husband, and during the time I was coming to church, I learned to forgive. And when I learned to forgive, I started working on my relationship with my husband. And when my husband never opened up to me, never told me what was going on with his life, until one day I got a knock on the front door, and it turned out to be the police. And I had to learn, okay, God, you are here. I learned through the church, through tribulations, you use your faith. And that's when I said, hey, that God is talking to me. This is a way I'm going to find a solution to my problem.
Love life.
And my husband and I were very happy, loving. Everybody in the neighborhood know us and always want their relationship to be like our relationship. Our relationship was an example that people wants to follow. Until one day I found out that my husband had someone else. And that turned me into a bitter and an angry person. Me surrendering my life to the Lord, I got baptized, was filled with the Holy Spirit. Now I have no hate. I'm not angry. I want to even save other people. Try to counsel other people who are going through problems in their marriage.
Encounter with God.
The suffering in my life, it started with me just basically having pain all over my body. And my mom took me to the doctor. They could not figure out what was wrong with me. I started having headaches, and the headaches get worse. It would go like from maybe a day, 2 days, 3 days. Then I started to have stomach pain. My whole body was in pain. And I just felt like something, just like a brick drop on my head. And I had that headache. It was so bad. And I was sweating. I felt like I was going to pass out. I wake up one Sunday morning and I'm coming to church and I'm like, I'm not leaving the church today without giving my life to God. I'm going to baptize today. And I came to church. Service is finished. I got baptized. And I never looked back.
Temple of Miracles, 2420 Dufferin Street, Toronto. 2420 Dufferin Street, Toronto. And every